everybody, it's Kyle. Another Monday afternoon equals another podcast. I think this is the 21st episode, if I remember correctly. That sounds right. Okay, long weekend, long Monday. Just an action-packed weekend, just stuff going on constantly, which is amazing because we didn't even have a swim meet. But we did have visitors Sunday. My son is at Boy Scout camp. He'll be home this Wednesday after 10 days. And then we get to go do all that again in about 3 weeks when my daughter goes to BSA camp, the same location, roughly. It ought to be nice and hot by then. Oh, well. But yeah, just a lot of stuff going on. We had a wedding. We had a little girl's birthday party. Whole nine, man. It was just a real busy weekend. So here we are. It's Monday. What's bugging me? I guess that's the question. What's bugging me? That's a tough one. I can't really think of too much that's really bothering me. I will say this. I am listening to an audiobook right now. I'm not going to get into who it's by or anything like that because I'm going to bash it a little bit. But I have noticed that it seems as though there's been some dumbing down in writing lately. This is a sci-fi novel. It's about not so much time travel as it is travel between different realities, something like that, or like a multiverse travel type of thing. And, I started listening to it. I want to say it was a little 10, 12 hours long, something like that. And it took a while for me to get into it because it just kind of felt like it wasn't written up to an adult level. It felt like it was written to a younger level. And the way things are described, everything in it, it just kind of was like, ugh. I don't know. I mean, I do like the idea of it. I like the story and everything. I would just say that I just did not. I know some people are like, oh, I've read reviews on it, and they're like, oh, what a great wordsmith and all this stuff. And I got to disagree. I think it's pretty poorly written. And I think that there's a reason for that. I think that we, as a people, have become way less read and way less demanding of our entertainment. I mean, a lot of our entertainment is some pretty stupid shit right now. I mean, if you really stop and think about it, man, reality TV is, first of all, it's not reality, but what a joke, man. I mean, it's really for dummies. And I've watched some of it too. I know it's easy to get caught up in it. And you may say, oh, well, yeah, you're like comic books. Yeah, I do. I tend to like comic books that aren't necessarily about superheroes, though. And most of the comics I read are pretty heady sci-fi, horror type stuff, or at least various types of stories that are pretty unique and different and deep. And I will go ahead and defend superhero comics as well. Maybe you haven't read a comic book in a while, but man, it is not, hey, Superman saves the day, yahoo! And all that garbage like comic books used to be a long time ago. It's different now. The characters, the heroes and the side characters and everything are very detailed and rich. So I would have to disagree with you on that. But, things are just kind of going that way. And I mean, it happens in movies and TV shows. And I know we've watched a few made for Netflix movies where I'm kind of like, well, it feels like that movie wasn't completed. And they just put it out, I've had that opinion shared by other people too. But sometimes it feels as though they're just in such a hurry to get things out, whether it be books or movies or TV shows or music, that they don't take the time to do it right. And polishing things up before they're released is crucial. And so I can tell you there's been a few movies that I've watched that were fun movies and entertaining and everything, but just not polished at the end. And that's kind of a bummer because we've become a demanding people, but I think we just want so much content now. that we've kind of weakened up on some of those things. We all want to binge watch everything until we can't see straight anymore. So I'll be curious to see how this new season of Stranger Things is, because that always tends to be a really well polished, commodity. They're well made. I mean, there's some issues with some of the plot and everything, but I can let all that stuff go. But they seem to be completed and tightened up really nicely before they drop those. Umbrella Academy had that same feeling, and really maybe it's the shows but the movies, some of the movies I've just noticed are kind of that way. Also, the newest season of Black Mirror, it's only 3 episodes. I've watched the first 2. I haven't watched, I think the last one, something Vipers, like Striking Vipers, something like that. I haven't watched that one yet. But I've watched the Ashley 2, and I've watched, I cannot remember the name of the other one, where the guy drives the Uber, that story. But I like that one a lot. But, boy, why only 3 episodes, guys? I mean, I know that a long time ago it used to be that way because it was a British series and they would only have 4 episodes or 3 episodes, but this isn't a British series anymore. We need more than 3 episodes. I did finish up Twilight Zone finally, the new iteration produced by Jordan Peele and starring him as the narrator. And I have to say, I really liked the last episode. Sometimes CGI can be a little janky, and I know there's some CGI character stuff throughout that show that's kind of janky. But I like the idea of the stories. And I mean, I really liked that season. It was 10 episodes. Yeah, there was 1 or 2 episodes I was like, but overall, I think it was pretty good. It was pretty well rounded. It presented a variety of types of stories like the old Twilight Zone, and I liked it. And I really liked the last episode a lot. It was pretty meta. It's an episode about filming an episode and writing for an episode. So it's really cool, man. Check that one out if you haven't. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I thought it was interesting and unique. So, but you'll know what I'm talking about on any of these. If you watch that season of Twilight Zone, you know what I'm talking about janky computer-generated effects. It's not as bad as the old early 21st century, I guess, Twilight Zone, or the ones from the 90s. It's not as bad as the most recent versions of the Outer Limits. Woo! Man, they got some stinky effects sometimes. But there's still some stuff in it where I'm just kind of like, I don't know, guys. So, but still good stories, heady stories. The other thing I did kind of notice about watching it, though, they do tend to, especially in Twilight Zone, the new version, they do tend to explain the whole story to you, as if you can't put it together. And sometimes the whole appeal or the beauty of Twilight Zone was that it kind of left you hanging, and you kind of had to make up your own mind and fill in the blanks by yourself. And I kind of miss that. So I'm not really going to complain about that, but that was kind of a bummer. So I'll just say that. Instead, they really lay it all out for you at the end of each episode and basically explain what happened. Not all of them. Some of them aren't. I know there's one that takes place up in Alaska. Boy, they don't give too much explanation there. Wow. I like that one. That might be my favorite one. It's quite possible. I think it's called A Traveler. I like that one. And it's weird, too. That's a real weird one. I might not have liked that in the older version, but I like it in this one. And I really like the last one. There's, I would say, out of the 10, there's 3 that I could probably live without, and the other 7 I really liked pretty well. So you have to see what you think. And then on Black Mirror, the 2 out of 3 new ones that I've watched, I liked them both. The Miley Cyrus one I watched, I liked it. It was different. It did feel like when she came around and she's talking, she just couldn't wait to say the F word as much as possible, man. I'm totally cool. Say fuck all you want, man. That's fine. But, you know how someone's real young and they just learn how to cuss, and I know she's not real young, and I know she didn't just learn how to cuss, but it did seem like she was trying to represent what a badass she was, and I thought that was kind of weak, but That's all right. Whatever. It's still a good story. Good idea. Um, but yeah, I've just kind of noticed that overall they do that now, man. They kind of weaken up the writing. They kind of weaken up the storytelling. They have to lay everything out for you. And my only suspicion is it has to do with how dumb we are as a people these days. And it's kind of a bummer. I mean, I know my kids, some of the stuff they're learning at a younger age is pretty thrilling and exciting. But I also know that I've known people who've gone all the way through the same school system and cannot read and write very well. So they do let you get away with a lot of things. And if you can't read very well, I mean, you can't read heady books. That just makes it more difficult for you. So I just kind of long for some of that writing that we had in the past that's pretty deep and really get your mind going, you know? It's kind of like movies, you know? Part of the magic of some movies that I can think of, like The Shining, you know, even though I know Stephen King didn't care for that version with Jack Nicholson, it's pretty different from his book, is why. But, you know, the appeal and the magic of that movie is that you don't understand everything you're seeing. And it's kind of left up to you to figure it out. Now, I mean, a little bit of that has to do with Stanley Kubrick, because that's kind of how he is. But at the same time, I mean, I don't know. I don't think we need everything fed to us with a baby spoon all the time. But it feels like we get a lot of that. And doesn't matter really what you're watching or taking in. I mean, local news, anything, even game shows. It appears as though we're not very smart anymore. So, I don't know. And I'm not saying, I'm some super smart guy, but I can sure as hell read, you know, Catch-22. And I bet most younger people or people these days probably can't. They probably wouldn't get it. Or Day of the Jackal or even To Kill a Mockingbird, you know. But some of those books, or even, I know a book that I talked about recently. I was like, man, you should read this. Frankenstein. If you've never read Frankenstein, man, it will floor you. You're not ready. I mean, it's amazing. And the whole time that you're reading it, you need to really stop and consider the fact that the person who wrote it was probably only about 15, 16 when she wrote it. Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley. I think she became Mary Shelley when she married Percy Shelley, if I remember correctly. But it is an incredible book, and it's very well written and very detailed and super heady. And no, Frankenstein is not the monster, guys. Frankenstein is the doctor who makes the monster. But yeah, check that book out, man. It's really good. It's actually a pretty short read also. It's not super long, but man, it's really well made, a well-written book, well executed. And so, you know, I'm just a little concerned with where things are going as far as writing and just art in general. It does really feel as though things have to really be spoon-fed to us these days. And I don't like that, man. And maybe that's why I like old stuff so much. I know music is definitely that way for me. And I'm getting old, too. But it's hard. There's not a lot of music. I mean, the most intriguing music to me recently would be, you know, that last Childish Gambino album is pretty deep. And I do really like I cannot think, Anderson .Paak albums that I was talking about. I really like those, you know. But there's not a lot of new music that I really care for a whole lot. I mean, I love Run the Jewels. It's interesting. I've named 3 R&B/rap acts there, but there's no rock and roll guys at all, and there's nothing really deep outside of some of those things that I'm talking about. You know, so it's just kind of a bummer. But I'm not too upset about it. But that is kind of how it is. Okay, things that I'm into. Well, you kind of got a little bit of that because I talked about Twilight Zone and finishing that up, and I talked about Black Mirror. I'm really got high hopes for that last episode. Other than that, you know, there's not a lot that I'm really super crazy jazz. I'm really excited to see it, part 2, this fall. Mikey and I will go see that one, and I'm excited to go see that. Other than that, I really could kind of care less. I mean, Star Wars, obviously, Episode 9 will be interesting, but I really could kind of care less about what's coming out in the near future. There's nothing that's really intriguing to me. I did see a new trailer today for the second of the new Jumanji films with The Rock and Kevin Hart and all those. Man, that looks fun. I love the first one. I thought it was really fun and exciting and all that stuff. So I'll be curious to see the new one. But we had a lot of fun as a family. We went and saw that and we loved it. So be curious to see what they do with the new one. Other than that, man, it's a lot of remakes. They're taking a lot of Disney stuff and just remaking it live action. So, they did that with Dumbo. They did it with Aladdin and then Lion King, I think. Now they're working on The Little Mermaid. It's like, I don't know. Kind of weird, but we'll see. Give them a chance, I guess. I mean, Lion King looks pretty great. Aladdin did not look that great to me. And Dumbo, I heard, was pretty atrocious. But and that's a bummer because, man, that was my son's favorite film when he was little. I mean, he used to literally watch Dumbo, and when it was over, go up and push play on the DVD player again and watch it again. He loved that movie. That one, and he really loved Babe 2, Pig in the City, which coincidentally was made by George Miller, who went on to, or before that even, made the Mad Max films, the original Mad Max films, and then the new one, Fury Road. But yeah, same guy. And I think he also did Happy Feet films as well. Interesting person. I like him, though. But what else am I into? I need to finish that Nameless book that I started. I need to finish this audiobook I started. And there's a new audiobook by the same author, so I'll listen to that one and see, or new book, by the same author. I'll listen to that one and see. Maybe he's got some things figured out by the time he wrote this next book. But there's not a lot else, guys. Sorry, I can't think of too much. There's some things I'm trying to do around the house. I will say I did clean out the gutters this weekend, and I let them probably go way too long. But something that happened to me that I was kind of surprised at. If you have a high pressure washer, guys, you got to watch which nozzle you have on it because you can actually cut yourself with that water. I actually cut my hand, kind of reaching in front while I was cleaning out these gutters. I cut inside the palm of my hand, like at the bottom of my index finger on my right hand. Man, I couldn't believe it when it happened. I was like, what the hell? But yeah, I just kind of ripped it open a little bit. But so be careful, man. Wear gloves or make sure you don't get your hands in front of there if you're using one of those. But I've got a bunch of stuff I got to do around the house. Probably when I get home here, I'm going to mow. I don't like to mow on the weekend. Everybody else kind of mows on the weekend. But our pool's open, so we've been out in that just a little bit. But, it's summer. That's kind of what's going on, guys. Not much else. It's starting to get hot. And it's only going to get hotter when we got to go down and in 3 weeks, go down to Scout Camp again for Visitors Day. So that'll be interesting. But that is about it. Not much else to report to you. If I come up with anything else I'm not thinking of, I will let you know and put it in the notes. Sorry, this episode is not super exciting. We're still working on getting together and drinking that Natter Days and recording a podcast doing that, but I'm not sure when that's going to happen. I know my one buddy is going out of town after the 4th, and he'll be gone for a little while, so we can't really get together and do that. But that's it, guys. Not much else to report. I will catch you next week. Please go and review. Write a nice review for this podcast on iTunes or whatever you listen to podcasts on. And please write a nice review. It does help for sure. And other than that, I know. Get off my lawn.